Missouri Broadcast Hall of Fame member, and one of the most recognizable faces in sports television in the Ozarks. That should help him a lot on the radio.
I'm here!
Back where he belongs, hosting the Sports Reporters. Ned Reynolds on your total sports station. 96.9, 99.9, and AM 1060 ESPN. The Jock.
And with that, we bid you good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Reporters. Ned Reynolds on a beautiful, beautiful October morning in the Ozarks. Great to have you with us, folks. Joined today by the coach, Bill Rowe, and the Scoreboard guys. Guy Newcomb is in with us. Steve Hutter from down at Northwest Arkansas Community College in Harrison has been kind enough to join us. Steve, you doing all right, buddy?
Doing okay. Trying to navigate this scenario like everybody else.
It is a scenario, too. You just nailed it right there. What's the protocol down there in Harrison as far as screening your players and so forth?
Well, we have a return-to-play kind of protocol that the NJCA and also our Region 2, which Region 2 for the NJCA is Arkansas and Oklahoma together. But basically there's, guidelines for every day. We take temperatures every day of our kids, and before they participate. At our college, of course, when they walk in onto the campus, into the doors, they get their temperature taken as well. So we're one of the fortunate ones, I guess, compared to some of the other schools, organizations, institutions. D2 and D1 and D3 are all different as far as NCAA goes. NJCA, the National Junior College Association, kind of jumped the gun, I say, and probably a good thing. They were one of the first ones to determine kind of how we're going to do our seasons this past year, and they started that, actually announced that in the summer. So they moved all of our basketball season, to the second half. Some guidelines that they kind of put in place to allow us to do some practice organization and whatnot in the first semester was they let schools select 60 days, consecutive days, that you would actually do practicing during the fall. And during that 60 days, we can scrimmage with no more than two other teams, up to 5 different dates to scrimmage. We have already done 2 of those dates at this point. Our 60 days goes from September 15 to, I believe it's November 13. And we have one more remaining scrimmage that we're going to do, I think, November 13th. And then basically we're kind of done until second semester. JUCOs can all bring their kids back in to start practice on January the 4th. And then our season, I think the first allowable contest is the 20th, 21st, somewhere in there. I think our first game is actually the 26th. And then they reduced our schedule from 30 games to 22 contests. Basically runs through the end of March. I think the last week of March, first week of April is our playoff system. So national tournament set up for like the third week of April. For the junior college situation. So,
Steve, in your case,
different parameters to play in.
Who ever thought this would be forthcoming? This is such a mess. Yeah. When you do your recruiting, Steve, do you try to stay local for the most part, or are you going across country?
Well, I would have said we're pretty much local, and we still are for the majority of our kids are local, but I've got 2 kids out of Washington, D.C. this year that are here. I've got a kid an international kid who was in West Virginia last year at a D2 who transferred to us. Got another kid who played at a prep school in California last year. So, the rest of them are kind of in a 3 to 4 hour radius, of Harrison. But, again, the recruiting took a different turn this year because they weren't coming to our campus, and, we ended up having to do a lot of this, you might say, long distance wise. And So, yeah, for the most part we are. But if you look on our website, our roster, you can see we have kids from a lot of different areas. So I never thought it would, usually junior colleges are, quote, community colleges or kind of area-wide personnel usually. But in our case, we've kind of broadened out a little bit.
Well done. Well done, Steve Hunter, as always. Hey, many thanks for your time. Much good luck, and do keep us posted. Will you do that?
Thank you, Ned. Appreciate you, Bill. You guys are great. Love what you do.
Here is Mark with us. Morning, Mark. What's going on, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen. No, I was just going to suggest that the Cardinals just need one to replace one to become a World Series team, and that's Mozeliak. The man does not want to win. Okay? You get rid of Rosarina. You got rid of, how many players has he got rid of? Now, I hear, what did I hear? Did I hear on a sports show that Rosarina mouthed off in the clubhouse about not playing hard enough, and Schultze took offense to it, and the next day he was gone.
I can't verify. I don't believe that.
Well, I don't know whether I read that on ESPN or Facebook, and you got to believe everything you read on Facebook. But anyway,
of course.
But anyway,
you're right. Grichuk's one that they traded a year ago.
Yeah,
and
I think everybody. Well, and they won. They're the world champions. Yeah, Mark, I can't put a lot of verification in that story about Rosarina because he was traded in the off season. I don't think it would have been anything about the next day or something like that. But one thing that have to be considered about a Rosarina. He was a good player down here, batted 360 something like that. Springfield Cardinals batted rather high in St. Louis, maybe 300 or so. But this is. Give him a whole season to prove himself that he's going to be this big a star. I mean, he's living the dream right now and playing very well. Hit 10 home runs in the postseason, including the one last night, their only run. He's a good player, but how great he is, I think that remains to be seen. It's a pleasure to welcome to the Jock Line Mr. Kyle Gibson, who is Coach Kyle Gibson, a cross-country and track and field coach at Drury University. Coach, thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me on, Ned.
Let's see, it says here the Drury women's cross-country team finished second in the GLPC championships. When was that? When did that conclude? And your reactions to that?
That was this past Saturday. We raced up in Principia, Illinois, and it was pretty exciting. I mean, I think our women's team going in we knew we had a lot of talent, a lot of young talent. We were kind of a little unsure in terms of how they were going to handle the pressures of a conference meet in their first year, along with all the other stresses of COVID and all these things that they're kind of enduring during their first year of college. And for us to finish second was pretty exciting. We've never finished higher than third in school history. So for us to have our highest finish in school history and just having one recruiting class here was a pretty special moment.
Kyle, how did the men's team do?
The men's team was seventh, so that was 4 places higher than we finished last year, and that ties our highest finish, and we haven't finished higher than seventh since 2013. So we're a pretty young team as well. I mean, 2 of our top 5 scorers were freshmen, and 3 of our top 5 girls were freshmen, so it's a very, very young team.
But there is no national meet, am I correct in that? The national championship?
There is not. No, there is an invitational going on in Lubbock, Texas, which we have been invited to compete in, and still a little unsure in terms of whether that's something we want to take on with everything else going on right now. But no, there is no national championship, unfortunately, this year. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. We have some girls who were planning on redshirting this year who kind of got to compete this year, and they don't lose that season of eligibility. So it was definitely a benefit to those athletes.
But am I correct, though, in assuming you will run in the regional meet, there will be one of them despite the fact there's no national championship?
No, actually, all NCAA championships or NCAA regional championships have been canceled this year as well.
How does that, what's the mindset of a coach? I know what it is with the athletes. They'd be terribly disappointed, but how about with a coach? How do you view the circumstance?
For me, I always try to look at circumstances and try to look at the positive side. And for us, when all this stuff was kind of started going on, I kind of phrased it with the athletes that we can look at this as a negative, but we can also look at this, and that some people aren't going to feel like training, some people aren't going to feel like doing some of these little things to get better in the off season, and if we can take advantage of it, I think we can jump some of those teams once we get in season. And a fall like this is unfortunate because they don't get to compete as much. But from my standpoint as a coach, it's kind of been a little bit nice from the standpoint as I can be a little bit more patient with the freshmen and with the team this year than I would be in years past.
Kyle, you've been a gentleman for taking time to visit with us. Many, many thanks, and much good luck, and do keep us posted, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Gang, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for being with us, Coach Rowe, as always. See you next Wednesday. Scoreboard Guy, we will see you probably on Friday, too, to wrap things up. And we will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, folks, and do have at least a warmer day. And stay dry, and we will see you tomorrow right here on the Sports Reporters.